Hello folks, brew here. Another modern versus match for you to observe and reflect. That is my own version of Bant Flash on the left in the hands of a buddy of mine, and then I'm on the right playing my default modern deck, which is Abzan Company, the deck I've been playing for years, basically, with Birthing Pod as well, back in the days. And today I'm basically playing a more standard version of it. So here you'd be seeing me fixing it towards something more conventional. In the meantime, I can tell you a few interesting facts and features. So basically this Bang Flash tag is something close to what you may call Eternal Command. So it has Aether Vials and Nobles. It has a lot of cheap counter spells. It doesn't actually play Cryptic Command, but instead it just takes all the advantage from tempo and flicker abilities. So it has Mystic Snake, Venziv, Ventillion, Click, Resto Angel, and then a range of counter spells. It has a couple of swords in it, Fire Ice and Fist and Famine. It has Spell Stutter Sprite and Mutavault, and then it has also Familiar's Ruse that can do a lot of cool things too. That's the counter spell for 2 that has an additional cost to bounce your creature. The sideboards could feature a lot of different cards. Yeah, I'm opting for a very safe and standard sideboard for this Abzan Company deck, and the main deck is also very stock, let's say. It does have Tireless Tracker main deck as one of, and also one of Renegade Relier in addition to 2 Eternal Witnesses. So my turn 1 was a Rager Vert Thicket, the Greenwood Fastland into Birds of Paradise. His turn 1 was Mutavault into Aether Vial. I know you might have some questions now, and basically this is just the full proxy printout with regard to Bant Flash deck. And yeah, and a bunch of good foils collected over time for the Abzan Company deck. Basically, I would really love to have really on paper and not just like with printouts the Bant deck, because it's just super sweet and super fun to play with. Never again with anything like that on tournaments, but I just love all the synergies in that deck. So my turn 2 was basically a basic forest into Berserker plus Willow Fruits. I've cut the 4th noble I had for a while in the deck for one of Willow Fruits back, because I wanted more blockers for decks like Eldrazi for example. And then again, this is the version of the deck with a full playset of Corsicoin. Might go back to 2 Willow Fruits, but I don't think it's actually that good of a plan nowadays. Island followed up by Flooded Strand, and just a passing of a turn. Vile is on 2, so he can actually, Vile in the Spell Stutter Sprites, and prior to that, activate Mutavault. And he could also have mana for extra counter spells on the same turn, but I'm off to a pretty good start with early mana advantage. He has a Vial, though, so that's a thing. And by the way, an interesting potential inclusion for this Bant Flash deck could be something like the Sivir Exar, maybe. But then again, you would want to turn into 4-color court deck, well, not court, but 4-color Kikijiki deck. But the cool part about the Sivir Exar is it untaps Vial, for example. But maybe Pestilence is just better because it flies and so on. So I'm tapping end of turn chord, I think. Yeah, that gets spell pierced. So this Bant is a tempo deck, so it doesn't want to play cards like Cryptic Command. Mana Lake is okay, but the whole point of this Bant is just to be mana efficient and just to be able to play a bunch of spells in a turn. So basically the description of the tempo is to basically establish a threat on board and also answer opponent's threats in the same turn. Here's another fetch and another passing of a turn. He fetches at my end. He's thinking what he needs. He's not super familiar with this brew of mine. So he first opted for a breathing pull, but then he refined his decision, and I allowed him to rewind and get some land that he really wants to. He's gonna get a Temple Garden instead in a moment, but I don't know. I think breathing pull is fine, especially with violent play, because you often want to have access to double blue mana in this deck. So he opted for Temple Garden and reasoned that because he wanted all his colors to be online, but at the same time you only need green basically just for Mystic Snake, well sometimes for Eternal Witness, and the way that the deck is constructed, so even though Witness is super cool in this deck, but opted only for one copy just because it's double green, and most of the time you just want double blue because of Click, Venser, Mystic Snake, stuff like that. And he opted for a tapped Temple Garden, so I used this opportunity to cast another Chord of Calling, this time for 5 because of the Wolfrid, and get a Archangel of Finn. I know that he has Path to Exile in his deck, and he can, you know, rebuy it with Witness, for example, or like cast Path on my turn, and keep mana up for more counter spells, or counters on creatures. There's an argument to actually playing Snapcaster in this deck. I don't play it in this deck because it actually doesn't have such a huge creature count, but maybe like one of could be fine. Just to flashback those counters and paths, for example, and Serum Visions too. But one of the plans for this band is just to have a bunch of cool effects on creatures, so counters on a stick, basically. But I could definitely see at least one Snapcaster in this band. So a company record allows me to go off with a Spectator, but I don't think I have it straight ahead. So here's a instant path for the Archangel. Don't really need lands at this point, so I sacrifice it to Seer to Scry, keep it on top. I'm not sure what was that. Okay, here's a Vizier of something, the new card from Mamaket, basically your additional Melira. Opted to play one copy because, well, it's obviously much worse than something like an Offensive because it doesn't really have good synergies. It's still a decent 2-1, but opted to play one, not instead of anything, but in addition, just to have more combo pieces in the deck, just to have better chance of hitting the combo off of blind companies, for example. Not attacking because I'm afraid of this Avery While, and I'm probably not winning with combat damage in this game. I feel like, so I think he discarded just 2 lands with the first knowledge. His Vial is at 4 now, so that represents a lot of nasty things, potentially, including Mystic Snake, and he has 4 mana untapped, so that might signal Mystic Snake and Rest Angel to blink it, so in theory he could be able to counter 2 spells without any conditions here. And I only have a Vin Hunter in main deck. The paths are in the sideboard. Still playing Abrupt Decays and Maelstrom Pulse in the sideboard in addition to paths. I just like the sideboard package more, although a lot of stock versions are now playing Tide Hollow Scholar instead of Thoughtseizes, although the stock build now plays a bunch of Fulminators because, well, Altrazitron is now a big thing, and then they play Gideons and Mindbenders in the sideboard, but I kind of like the cheaper, more flexible sideboard package still, but it might not be correct in general. I think I pass the turn and he clicks me at the end. In response to that, I cast my company. So if this resolves, he'll have nothing to hit with the click. He could choose himself, actually. But okay, so what he decides to do is actually Violent Venser, so company goes back into my hand and now he can click it away. I should have actually here let the click resolve and company in response to the trigger. This way, if he didn't have anything like Venser, he wouldn't be able to click himself to, mulligan some useless card from his hand. So okay, attack with the click. I'm down to 14, but that's still a lot. Now it's my turn, and I think his file is supposed to be tapped because of the Venser here. I'm not sure of the timing and stuff like that. Maybe it was, at the end of my turn, possibly, so that he get to untap the lands and the vial. Okay, now Resto is flashed in from the vial. He could be blinking Venser again to make me, return the company from stack back to my hand. Okay, now playing another bird just next to Jumper. Those Jumpers can be converted into more scries with the Seer. He has another Resto for mana. Again, flickering click this time. So yeah, no, that was annoying. This is a really good showcase of what the deck actually can accomplish. As you can see, it can do pretty sweet stuff and can provide a pretty fast clock as well. Because of click and Venser and stuff like that, and I'm not sure, but I think Spellstarter Sprite is actually a wizard too, so the Laboratory could be cool. Oh, no, I think it's actually from Onslaught block, so I can't be playing that. It's just it's in my mind just because of the extended version of a similar deck. Okay, so he attacked and passed the turn. I scried end of turn, so I'm now just trying to find the third piece of the combo because I have 2 on board. So I ate all my mana dorks because, well, I don't know how else am I supposed to win this game. Okay, here's Bird. That's actually another blocker for Rise to our Click and another chance to scry some way to get the third combo piece. Not sure if playing this land was correct, but I have a bunch of companies at the bottom of my deck because of the click. So actually shuffling here with the fetch makes sense. Just probably gives me a better shot at finding the third piece. Okay, he meshes in with the whole team. Put the bird in front of the resto. Before damage, I first crack the fetch. So if I did not have a bunch of companies at, well, at least two at the bottom of my deck, so fetching here would be definitely incorrect, but I feel like it's justifiable in this case. Um, Plus it's not going to be blind, I'll get to scry one more after shuffle. So I'm taking 8 here, falling down to 5. I think he should have attacked with the multiple here as well to put me down to 3, so I wouldn't be able, for example, like, to fetch into Shockland or something like that. Or maybe he just wanted to have enough mana untapped for all kinds of responses. So I'm falling down to 5 from this attack. Pretty much have to draw something. Yeah, it's just Neverland, which is sad, and next up deck is an Offenza, which is not gonna help, and then Witness, but by then he would, yeah, he has a Sprite and Never Rest to enhance, so I was pretty much locked out of this game, for sure. So he had very good draws, I think. Well, I did have good ones, relatively, too. But yeah, he had like all the answers in the world, and this matchup is pretty tough. And yeah, this kind of lockdowns um, is one of the big reasons why I love this Bant Flash so much. It's a shame I like don't have it like available for tournaments. Okay, sideboarding time, I think. Gave him a bunch of like printouts as just all the available sideboard pieces, because there's so many things that you can fit into the sideboard for this Bant deck. Just there are like so many options. A lot of them are pretty good in this matchup. But yeah. So I'm looking at the removal package basically, because even though a lot of his things are small, but then Path gets rid of Resto, which is like a big deal in terms of racing. So Pride Mage answers Vile, and that's already quite a lot. I mean, that's already a good reason to bring it in. Also brings in like any potential rest in peace. I mean, Rex those. Don't think he wants spreading seas in this matchup. It could be a thing, but it's mostly for big mana decks. Seas could be okay, just to get rid of those counters and just to make sure my stuff resolves. What else? Yeah, Decay and Pulse are pretty decent here. Um, yeah. Because I'm bringing so much removal, I don't need to rely on Fiend Hunter. This matchup is not like super fast, so I can afford to take out all the mana dorks, of which I have 8 in this fashion. So Spellskite is cute, but it doesn't really block anything, so that's why it's going out. It does protect my stuff against his paths, but that's not enough to justify keeping it. I can take out parts of the combo, but I don't think it's really needed. So combo is like, if I assemble like just infinite life, that's pretty much enough. He can't really win from there. Yeah. Okay, in matchup like for matchups like this, there could be like an argument to actually play the blue-green sword, the what is it, body and mind, to be able to mill your opponent out. But outside of situations like this, outside of matchups like this, there are no like good reasons to play that card. Yeah, Mind Sensor is cool here. The spell answers a lot of stuff, and then he's bringing up thinking about like spreading this to try to mana screw me. It also switches off Gaoni Township, which is which could be a problem to deal with, but I think there are better options. Okay, I talked him out of bringing in spreadances. It could be good, but if I he doesn't really have a good way of knowing whether um, I take out mana dorks or not. If he would be like really sure that I'm taking out all the mana dorks, and maybe bringing his princess is okay. So he's thinking about potentially take out Vapor Snag and two spell snares and two spell pierces. Um, while I do see um, an argument for taking out spell pierce, but then again, well, the spell counters a lot of stuff that spell pierce counters in this matchup, but I still like keeping at least one spell pierce. Maybe there's a chance actually not to bring an Archmage, and then you know keep both spell pierce in, just because that's much better tempo. Um, Archmage just shines in all those mid-range and control matchups. You can cast it quickly off of Noble or Violet in. I don't know. Um, it's not like really 100% certain whether second Pierce is better than Archmage here. But Archmage could be Violin. So I tell him to actually take out one Noble. And then what? So yeah, he's bringing non-dwells. Take it out, one Noble, one Pierce, one Snare, and Vapor Snag. I don't remember exactly whether there are 4 Nobles or just 3 in that band. There could be an argument actually to, even take out for one more Noble and just keep 2, and then actually keep that second Pierce. But Noble allows him not only, overall speed up stuff, but it also allows him to keep up turn 2 Sprite plus 1 mana counter. So that's pretty relevant. There could be an argument to playing Delvers in this band, but Delver is just okay. It's a good creature, but you have a lot of creatures to actually close out the games, and Delver is just not a great value, and this band is pretty much about value, so it's much better. A little bit of pause here. Had to pick up something. But yeah, so now we're gonna start post-cyber games. I don't remember exactly how many of those we would have. 1 or 2. But yeah, let's dive into that. Okay, quick mulligan to 6, because I think that was just either 1 lander or no lander. Oh yeah, and Abzan can't really keep 1 landers anymore after sideboards here, because all the mana dorks are out. I only have Viserys as actual 1-drops. I don't know why he's rolling all those 4 dice. Well, just for fun, I guess. Looking at 6, so I kept Scrides put to the bottom. He starts off with Mutavault into Vial. Since he started off with Mutavault, that could signal a spell starter spray potentially. I don't know. Turn 1, it doesn't actually matter a whole lot. Maybe he's doing that just because there is a chance that he would have nothing turn 2, so he would just attack for 2 then. But that's not a great idea. I'm not sure why to play Let's well turn 1 here. I can totally see it as turn 2 land, because then um, he can have a vial on 2 for Sprite and then activate Multivolt. I don't know, I think like fetching into um, tapped Shockland would be much better. Maybe, well, maybe he just didn't want to take too much damage. Okay, I have an insta turn to decay for his vial, just because if it ticks up to 2, then he can vial in a Sprite, but then that doesn't really do anything, so I think that was too quickly. I think that was probably too quickly. It's not like he has anything like Voice of Resurgence, which is actually a decent option for this deck. But I don't think it's actually needed, because, well, it's just a good card and you can vial it in on 2. But it doesn't really solve any of the potential problems which this band can have potentially overall in the field. Because I tapped out, he was free to fetch a tapped Shockland. Yeah, I should have waited, because now he can, do whatever, or just... on the other hand, he's a flash deck, so my tap out maybe wasn't that bad. But then again, if he had a second Sprite in hand, you saw him now like actually flash like one that he has in hand. Yeah, then not decaying right away, the vial could have been worse. Okay, so I fetched at the end of his turn. He flashed in the Mind Sensor to try to, break my mana, but I was lucky enough and hit the land off of that fetch. Yeah, I don't have all the catacombs in here, and I have the red-green fetches still here, so that makes it actually very tricky in the face of Mind Sensor. Kind of high chance to miss. Okay, I tap out for Seer plus Scavenging Ooze while he's tapped out. Ooze is not like super amazing here, no Goif, no opposing Ooze or Snapcasters. Well, there's a Witness, but basically this Ooze is just good on this match because he has a lot of creatures, and so do I, and big Ooze here will just demand a path, and that will free up the space for my combo pieces. His Serum Visions didn't quite catch where he put it on top or bottom from the scratch, and after a while, 1 mana untapped, Mind Sensor smashing for 2, and yeah, that's 16 life points. So let's see what I had in the store next. Not really afraid of any surprise blockers here. But he doesn't have creatures out there. Here's an untapped Temple Garden, and then a Kitchen Things. That basically means Path to Exile in my hand. I'm 1 away from the combo here. Played Things here because he couldn't actually counter it. He could path it, but that's about it. But resolving some dig spell will be pretty hard here. Plus, well, now it's kind of tricky because I kind of need to path this Mind Sensor, because then my cord is very unreliable. Yeah, I'm going for path here end of turn on the mind sensor. He could have a lot of ways to actually counter it. In theory, starting from a spell starter sprite, but he lets it actually go, which is kinda surprising. I think he had answers to it in his hand. Maybe he's just afraid of, me naturally casting a third piece, so he wants to, counter that with the sprite. So he did pause and let it go. So that should signal that he has an answer, but he doesn't want to spend it here. Okay, so yeah, I'm just down to 2 cards, but I know that he could have a lot of blanks as well. Kitchen things coming in, which is kind of ballsy. He has a multi-vault. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to actually attack with it here. But yeah, I guess I attacked because I had a kitchen things number 2, and outside of paths he doesn't have that many answers to it. He could have sprite into sprite and multi-vault. Well, Venzer is not an amazing answer to these things. So he knows that my last card in hand is kitchen things that he just bounced. Since I played this land now. Mind Sender is in exile, so can't grow Scavengers here. Just plays land and passes. 2 cards left in hand. I think I caught a glimpse, and I think that's a sprite. Game Invention end of turn, just fin in the deck. I didn't really scry this game. And also this way I can bring in some tapped shocklands so that I can avoid taking extra damage off of those if I draw them and actually need mana to play around something like Spell Pierce. Okay, that's a kitchen thing, and well, same kitchen things that he bounced last turn. I'm up to 17. I have 2 things in play, so I can afford probably attack with 1. But I decided not to do that because, well, just waiting 1 more turn to see what I draw. Because then if I draw an Offenza, Vizier, or Milara, then I'll just go for it. But then if he would, I don't know, path my Seer, and then I draw my 2-drop, so I would be rewarded for this patience. But he's at 13. I think I should have tried to pressure him a bit more, especially since Witness or Resto is a thing, and he could be, flickering his Venser and get value. But just bouncing my stuff doesn't seem good. And if he had Resto, he would have used it by now, I feel like. I don't know. I think at this stage, with him just passing the 10, so maybe attacking with one of the things into potential Resto is not that bad. And then also, if he trades a Multi-Vault or Venser for kitchen things, then I can exile it, grow my Scavengers, and then that can attack into a lot of stuff. Things like that. Okay, attempting a company here that needs a dispel. Cracking a fetch here because, yeah, thinning the deck, potentially saving enough of, like, left out if I draw Shock Lens. Yeah, I just need to draw a combo piece here, basically. Resolve one of the dig spells. This company could have brought it to me, but yeah, it mattered the spell. Yeah, I could see like how Pierce could be rather um, annoying in the later stages of the game. So yeah, but I think it's still important. I think it's still important. Okay, I get a withdraw because of the Horizon Canopy, but I don't think I drew anything relevant. Yeah, for the past couple of turns I should have tried to pressure with at least one kitchen things. Because then it could bring him low enough so that I can actually, I'll close out the game before he draws into anything relevant. I think that's Township, I'm not sure. Yeah, that's Township. So now I can safely attack into pretty much anything. Attacking even with the ooze just because, well, I have to, do something. I don't think I can afford to wait here forever. He responds with first knowledge. Because he has a lot of really good draws here. Discards 2 lands here. There is an argument for actually playing a second first knowledge, but I don't know, between visions and that and witness that can return either of them. Not sure if it's really that needed, but sometimes it feels like you really want the second one just to filter extra lands and extra vials. But yeah, you want at least one in the deck for sure. You can also discard swords in situations where it's not really that important. Okay, he activates multi-votes in double block on the ooze. Yeah, there are no. Well, okay, if I pump that with the Township, that's free. So in order for the ooze to survive, I will have to, eat my both things or eat like Syrian things. I definitely don't want to do that. So 2/2 ooze trades for a Venser because Venser is much more important with all the flickers and Familiar's Ruse. Kitchen things get in, so he's at 7 now. I think he has some goodies in his hand. Threads of Disloyalty is actually a pretty interesting card as an option for this band, because nowadays that would be a pretty cool answer to opponent's Death Shadow, maybe. Because of opponent's beatdowns and your own fetches and shocks, you could potentially go low enough so that you can have a sizable Death Shadow to attack or block. I don't know, well, it's still the opposing Tarmogoyfs at the very least. Against Death Shadow deck. Here's a Sword and Fire, nice. That's not a huge deal here. I actually don't know why he's playing it now. Maybe he just doesn't have better plays this turn. His Vial is at 4 though. Okay, I'm attempting end of... Okay, I didn't actually use Township last turn on that attack because I wanted to cast chords. We have enough mana to play around Spell Pierce, and he doesn't actually have an answer for it, so that's game. Okay, that's it. I think it's 1-1. Yeah. Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and check the links in the description below. Leave any feedback in the comment section below. And I'll see you next time. Until the next sale, goodbye folks.